Welcome to the 10th Rule Books, big, bad, old school radio serial podcast. Brought to you, of course, by 10th Rule Books, bringing you the pulp fiction that skips the boring parts. This week we continue with Fierro, Part 4. Things get worse for Lance, and Eddie Hack and Hack's old lady start to put their plan in motion. Enjoy. Chapter 8. Andy. Salinas. Andy hit the stop button on his Walkman when he reached the payphone in front of the 7-Eleven. He considered listening to the rest of the song. Aldo Nova's Fantasy was a great jam. He decided it could be wait. He wished he had a phone in the apartment, but funds were a little low. At least the payphones were just down the street. After hoofing it home from work, the last thing he needed was another long walk. Lance did not answer his phone, which was annoying since Lance paged him. He called him collect since he did not want to have to pay the long distance charges. Since he was already there, he went into the 7-Eleven. He often talked a bit to the retired cop who worked the swing shift. The old dude had some good stories. He actually made being a cop sound fun. After exchanging some banter with the old dude, he noticed the new Defender game was open for once, and Andy was lucky enough to have some quarters, which was the only bonus of selling weed to losers like Derek. First game went badly, but he caught fire on the second one. Andy had the feeling he was going to get a high score, maybe a personal best. A lot of good players frequented this machine, but Andy felt if he kept going at this pace, he may get to put his initials on the high score list. Killing an entire afternoon on 50 cents always felt good. Felt his pager vibrate on his belt, but he ignored it. With a personal best and a chance to put his initials on the high score list, whoever it was would have to wait. Chapter 9. Lance. Hollywood. Lance squirmed as the phone rang, but Chrissie's ex-boyfriend had used nearly an entire roll of duct tape to secure him against the bathroom wall. He wanted to yell, but his mouth was taped up too. He had made the drive up to Salinas enough to know it was 3.5 hours minimum, even if one ignored the speed limits, plus whatever time it took to find Andy and take back the coke. Then Gordon still had to drive back. Lance was looking at 8 hours hanging upside down above his bathtub, at the very least. He started thinking about Andy, who'd never see Gordon coming. He tried to tell himself all Andy had to do was give Gordon back the coke and everything would be fine, assuming Andy had the coke and he would just hand it over. Lance came to the realization he just sold out his friend to a gun-toting, spin-kicking psychopath. Andy was not perfect, and no one ever accused Andy of being cool. Back in the day, though, when Lance let his darker impulses get the best of him, and he followed Jenny into the girls' room, Andy never made fun of him for it. He never called him Lester the molester like everyone else. Well, it was not unreasonable to see Andy's loyalty as self-serving. It was not like he had a bunch of other friends. Lance certainly never saw it that way. That's why when Chrissie said they needed to sell the coke outside of Hollywood, Lance immediately thought of Andy. One, because he knew Andy would never rip him off, and two, because he felt he owed Andy a big piece of the good life Lance had stumbled upon when he came south. Instead, he had doomed him. Gordon only beat the crap out of him and duct taped him to a bathroom wall. Andy would be lucky. He heard a noise in the other room and pictured Gordon coming back. He pictured the big fancy gun or the straight razor and started to squirm some more. The idea of being tied upside down over his bathtub did not seem so horrible compared to bleeding out into it. "You alive in there, Lance?" Chrissie yelled for him from outside the bathroom. Lance was still gagged, so all he could do was make muffled noises she could not hear. "If you were dead in there, I don't want to see it." Lance wondered how he could tell her if he was dead. Tried to bang his head against the wall, hoping she would hear. "He said he was going to cut off your dick. I don't want to see that either. Just thinking about it is making me sick." Lance already knew this, and thinking about it was not doing him much good either. "I'm sorry, Lance. I just can't see a dead body. My cat got hit by a car when I was 11, and after I saw the body, I had nightmares for like 6 months. That was just a cat. Cat I didn't even like. Little shit used to bite me. I see you dead and possibly dickless, and I may not get a good night's sleep for the rest of my life. She paused to give Lance a chance to add to the conversation, but he couldn't. I'm getting the fuck out of here, Lance. And by getting the fuck out of here, I don't mean just leaving my apartment. I mean getting the fuck out of this town. Maybe even going back to Idaho, getting a job at Kmart or something. Lance tried again to get her to hear him, but again failed. If you were alive, I suggest you do the same. Lance did not disagree, but there was nothing he could do about it. He may seem like a dork, but he is crazy. You should have never taken his stash. Even if you find your friend Randy, there is no way he has all the coke. That was good shit. Only a complete moron would not be able to move at least half of it in a week. It's Andy, Lance said into the gag. Alright, I'm getting the hell out of here. If you're still alive, I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry if you're dead too. No, don't go, Lance said into the gag, but like everything else he tried to tell her, she did not hear him. You can forgive me for helping Gordon tie you up. I forgive you for helping Gordon tie me up. If you aren't dead and he did not cut off your dick, maybe we can get together again someday. If you're in Des Moines, look me up. Lance kept trying to get her attention until he heard the front door slam shut and then creak as it slowly fell back open, since Gordon's kick had busted the latch. Lance was starting to cry, thinking not only had he just gotten his best friend killed, the chances were good Gordon was probably going to come back and kill him too. He might have just lost his girlfriend. Chapter 10. Eddie, Hack, and Hack's old lady. Salinas. All Eddie had to do was make a fist to get Donnie to give up Andy's address. Eddie was disappointed. Caving in some loser's face was sounding really good, especially after wasting a bunch of time going to the wrong house. He wanted to punch Hack for being so crank-addled he didn't remember Donnie moved. But as long as Hack could cook up a good batch of the hillbilly cocaine, he was still useful. Can we get some cigarettes first? Hack's old lady asked as they made their way back to their bikes. No, Eddie told her. Can I bum one off you? No. She looked at Hack like he expected him to do something. Hack looked away like he never saw her as he mounted his bike. She got on behind him and they followed Eddie as he wound his way through the back roads of Prunedale. Donnie lived a bit off the beaten path in a dilapidated trailer. It's the kind of place that made people refer to Prunedale as Pruntucky. They hit the 101 and went full throttle back into Salinas, happy to find out at least Andy's place was on the north part of town, making it a short trip from Prunedale. Like Eddie's house, the apartments overlooked more fields. Lettuce over on this side of town instead of strawberries. He might be the only white guy living here, Hack said as they parked their bikes. He gives us any shit and he won't be living anymore, Eddie told him. There's a 7-Eleven about 2 blocks down, Hack's old lady said. So how about we go get me some smokes first? First we get our business done, then we go for smokes, Hack told her. Why not 7-Eleven first? You still going on about fucking cigarettes? Eddie said as he got off his bike and stepped in her direction. Just let it go, Hack said, stepping between him and pulling the wrinkled 10 Dave gave him out of his pocket. You don't need to hurt a strong arm this fat punk anyway. Eddie nodded, thinking she was probably just getting away anyway. You want me to walk? She said as she pocketed the crumpled bill. Bring back my change, Hack told her before they turned and headed for Andy's place. She thought about asking Hack for the keys to his bike, but since he had never let her drive it before, she figured correctly this would be a waste of time. She had gone long enough without a nicotine fix as it was. Doing a line without a cigarette. To even her out took a good chunk of the fun out of tweaking, not enough to keep her from snorting up the line, but still. She started walking toward the 7-Eleven. She found it surprising how much walking 2 blocks took out of her. She reached the door just as 2 teenagers were walking out. Motherfucker is gonna be playing all night, one said as they hit the sidewalk. He looked over and saw Hack's old lady, and visibly shuddered. She was too focused on getting inside and getting a pack of smokes to worry about some 12-year-old's assessment of her looks. When she did get inside, though, she looked over at the corner where they kept the video games. Standing there at the machine, she was pretty sure she saw the punk Eddie was looking for. She was not 100% certain. She never paid much attention to the people Eddie and Hack sold to. However, she was thinking they were looking for a fat guy who dressed funny. The same fat guy Eddie had slapped upside the head. And this dude fit the bill in terms of girth and fashion sense. Plus he's at the 7-Eleven practically 2 blocks away from where the kid lived. You buying something? She turned and realized she'd been staring at the kid playing the video game longer than she meant to. The old guy behind the counter was giving her the hard stare. "You got them generic cigarettes? You have money?" She answered by pulling out the cash, thinking this guy seemed overly hostile. The clerk grabbed her a soft white package marked cigarettes and took her money. She lit one up as she walked out the door. The fat kid was still playing the game. She thought about how hurrying back to tell Hack the kid they were looking for was at the 7-Eleven. Then she thought about how Eddie wouldn't even loan her a single smoke out of a brand new pack. With the kid they were looking for inside, there really wasn't any reason to hurry back at all. She realized she'd not eaten all day. She actually couldn't remember if she'd eaten the day before either. She smoked her cigarette down to the filter and went back inside. She had enough of Hack's money left over to get one microwavable burrito and a Pepsi. You've been listening to the 10th Rule Books Big Bad Old School Radio Serial Podcast. Brought to you by 10th Rule Books, bringing you the pulp fiction that skips the boring parts. Stay tuned next week for part 5 of Fierro. Be sure to follow 10th Rule Books on Twitter and like our Facebook page. You can also get all news 10th Rule Books over at our blog at www.10thrulebooksblog.10thrulebooks. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can check it out in book form. This is the second half of Double Tap by Christopher Davis and Todd Moore. Be sure to check out all our books on Amazon, including Captain Cooker and its sequel, Best Laid Plans of Idiots and Fuck-Ups by Todd Moore. We will see you next week. Until then, enjoy.